Okay, so there's another national park I want to ask you about, and I'm completely unfamiliar with it, so I'm really excited to hear about it. But and I know another one that was a favorite of yours is Channel Islands National Park. So can you tell us a little bit about Channel Islands and where that is and all that good stuff?
Yeah, so Channel Islands is a string of islands off the coast of Santa Barbara. I believe there are 5 islands, something like that. And you can go to any of the islands. We, in particular, went to Santa Cruz. It's one of the bigger ones. And it's not a very well-known park. It's very small, and it's on an island, so it's hard to get to, which is also one of the appeals of it, I think, because it's not busy. Yeah. It just can't be, because there's only so many. You have to take a ferry out there, or you have your own boat. If you have your own boat, you can also take it out there, because they have like a dock that you can stay at. So that's like one of the big things I really liked about it, is that it was already limited in the amount of people that could go there. So we took a ferry it was actually out of Ventura, which is just south of Santa Barbara. And the ferry was kind of pricey. It was like $60 to $80 a person, but our camping was free out there. Okay. And on the way out, they stop a lot for wildlife. So we saw like hundreds of dolphins, bottlenose and Pacific white-sided dolphins, which I had never heard of before I was out there. And we saw a bunch of whales as well, which was very, very cool. And like a variety of different kinds. I don't even remember all the kinds that we saw. Because I'm not familiar with all of them, but I do remember we saw a blue whale, because that's like the biggest mammal on Earth. That was really cool to see one of those. Yes. It was a small one, but it was still really cool. And then we saw gray whales. And I remember the gray whales because they were mating when we saw them. So when gray whales, which sounds like kind of weird, but it's really cool. So when gray whales mate, they like go in this like rhythmic circle, and they like breach the water over and over again. And it was like a very crazy thing. So they come out of the water a bunch, which you don't always get to see with whales. You know, sometimes you just see their blowhole, but they like came out and like fully breached over and over, which was awesome to see.
That's amazing. It sounds like a National Geographic episode. You should have had your camera out to send it in.
I know. I wish I would have at the time. I didn't, but it was so cool.
Okay, so they were breaching while they were, and then were you watching them? Were they eating and stuff too while they were there? Is that something they do? Because I know when they're in warmer weathers, that's when they feed, and then, well, during, I guess, what is that? Winter months. I don't know. I've got it backwards. But were they feeding there while you're there too?
So in winter months, they come up here to Alaska, and when they go down south, I'm sorry, I have it backwards. They come up here in the summer because it's warmer up here in the summer in Alaska. And then in the winter, they go down south, and a lot of them go to have their babies there, and then they feed a lot there too to get the young ones strong for the journey back north. So there is a lot of feeding. So you see them a lot more in the winter months. We went in March, so it was kind of in between. So they were starting to head back north a little bit. And when they feed, they breach a lot more, or at least their blowholes come up a lot more, which is a pretty cool thing to see.
Yeah. Well, so you're saying $60 a person. That's a little bit spendier, which I totally get that. But people go whale watching trips, and they spend, $150 a person, and you guys got that kind of packed into it, and then you got a campsite out of it. So that actually sounds super cool.
Yeah, exactly. And they'll stop for wildlife along the way, and so it is kind of like a whale watching tour all in one, and that's why I think it's just so worth it, because you do see so much. They don't just go straight out there, and they talk about the park a lot, and they point out different islands and what to expect, even though the boat that you're on typically goes just to one island. Sometimes they make multiple stops. It kind of depends.
Okay. And then, so when you're going out to the Channel Islands, you're on the ferry. Do you bring your car with you? And then how long does that drive take, or the boat ride take from California the mainland California to the island.
Yeah, so you don't take a car. It's just a passenger ferry. There are no roads on the island. There are like some rangers with like golf carts and that sort of thing, but it's very, very remote and primitive on the island. I want to say the trip, it's hard for me to remember, but I want to say it was a couple hours, maybe 2 hours, but we stopped a lot on the way. I think it was supposed to be a little bit shorter, but because we saw so much wildlife, they took time to kind of pause and take it in while we were there.